graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Warning. The Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Young children should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a parent or guardian. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color and members of the LGBTQA+ community, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, violence, nudity, misogyny, racism, anti-Semitism, hate crimes, and depictions of sexual assault. Be advised.
Pulling at the beast at the lot, followed by 12 yup SWAT. We pull up the jack in the box. I just took a cake at the box, took a Trump steak at the box. Eat on the goddamn sale, I'm too lazy. I get some major deals, I've been saying this since the 80s. I'm talking about coupons, get my cash back. Man, I love me Papa John's, I smack. Don't eat salad with croutons, I can pack that. You can catch me at McDonald's on Sat.
So, supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Stay the fuck at home.
Your podcast will fail.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello, and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And you know, Paul, stuck in quarantine, besides my daughter, I don't think I've seen or been in the presence of another human being in the past month or so. But when my daughter's not here, I'm stuck in the house with a cat. And long-term listeners of the show will know that, you know, my cat at one point was your cat. And I'm stuck in the house with a farting cat. This cat, I mean, and trust me, I Googled it. I wanted to make sure that she was okay. To the best of my knowledge, everything else about her is okay. Her diet did, and I don't want to say diet changed. I mean, usually I get her like the beef cat food, and now we switched over to the fish cat food. And maybe that's not sitting right with her stomach or something like that. But, you know, you're sitting in a room.
I'm shaking my head at you right now.
You know, you're sitting in a room.
Shaking my head at you.
You know, we're in the middle of quarantine.
I give you my fucking cat, and this is the shit I have to deal with.
She's been well kept care of in the past couple of years. Yeah, every now and then she jumps out of the window and runs away. But that most cats, a lot of people have outside cats. She tends not to be an outside cat. But, you know, she likes to stand in the window, and it's so weird because now with the quarantine, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are feeling this also, my sleep cycle's all over the fucking place. You know, right now, you know, I'll do a little something, I'll do some work or whatever, and then I'll go to sleep. and I'll sleep for like 2 hours, and I'll wake up and I'll fuck around on the computer for a couple more hours and go back to sleep. So, for some reason, I've been getting up like at 5 o'clock in the morning recently. That's sort of been my thing. So like at 5 o'clock in the morning, she's right at the window, because that's that time when the sun comes up and all the birds start chirping and stuff like that. So she is right there, just like, as soon as this asshole opens the window, I'm fucking running out there and killing all you motherfuckers, or at least trying to. So, but I don't, and it's so weird because my daughter was here the other day, and I would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that I thought my daughter was fucking with me, and I thought she was farting and blaming it on the cat. Just like, ha ha. But, since it's, and I heard it the other day. I heard the cat fart the other day. So, but, with that,
I'm fucking shaking my head at you still.
And that's the whole thing is at first I was blaming it on my daughter, saying, you're shifting, you're lying to me. I'm falsely accusing my daughter of farting, and my daughter hasn't been here in a couple of days. And it's this cat, she's just sitting on my fucking bed, and then all of a sudden, and it's like, we're in the middle of quarantine, and you're like, I question myself sometimes. Like, am I farting on myself? But, I told Paul, because me and Paul, we do kind of do a rundown of what we're going to talk about in the episode, but I said, I got a surprise for you at the beginning, but yeah, that's the surprise.
I'm going to take her back. You keep your shit up. So I'm telling you right now.
Farting all over. But I mean, it's not, other than that, she's fine. She's acting the same way she's always acted, just farting now, and I don't know what's going on with that. But all right,
she's a big sweetheart. Don't hurt the sweetheart.
Of course she's a sweetheart. Of course she's a sweetheart. She's just farting. It's such a weird thing, because, usually you could, if you're the only person in the room and you smell something bad, it's you. You can blame it on yourself. But, she's there on the bed or whatever, and then I just catch a whiff of something, like, what the I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, I can't blame it on anybody. Unfortunately, I falsely accuse my daughter. So
you're such a bad father. I see how you are. And
so here we are in the age of social distance, and
Jesus Christ,
every fucking day. And and I understand it's not healthy. Like, I know I'm, between all the shit that I do, I do a lot of shit online. I'm saying that's, not going outside has been my life.
You heard it anyway. Here, folks. He shits online, okay?
What I'm just saying is I know that, I'm a homebody. I was a homebody before the fucking quarantine. I'm going to be a homebody after the quarantine. I don't go outside. I don't socialize that much. Anyone who's listened to the last episode, I'm not dating anybody anymore, which this would have been the perfect time to be dating someone, because you can't take her anywhere. Why the fuck did I have to why did I break up? I mean, well, she broke up with me basically, but, what a great time to be dating someone. Hey, babe, I can't go to the movies. I can't take you out for dinner. I mean, I guess technically you could, like, if she could hold you to, like, ordering, like, Uber Eats or Grubhub or DoorDash or something, like, ordering food from the restaurants, which the other day I ordered, this is what happens, man. You sitting at home and you no one there to regulate you. I just ordered a fucking bloomin' onion from Outback Steakhouse, and I ate that shit all by myself.
Jesus Christ.
Which is why I'm fucking fat fuck.
That's why the cat's farting.
we're dueling at each other. But yeah, I mean, I guess, this would have been a good time to date somebody, because you could just say, hey, baby, we can't do anything because, we can't go anywhere. Let's go to the park. I don't want to go to the park.
I'm shaking my head at you still.
But, all right. So yeah, so we're in the age of social distancing, but, I get filled with rage when I go and I look at, pictures of people outside, not social distancing, and like even the other day, like when my daughter was here, and then I, went to go take her back to her mom's house, and, when I drive through, going to her mom's house, I drive through a pretty nice part of Rochester, and I guess it's not really spoiling. I drive through like the East Avenue part of Rochester, Park Avenue, East Avenue, that area, and you just see all these fucking people not social distancing, and like the other day, okay, yes, the weather's nice, but this isn't a fucking vacation, people. We're in the middle of fucking quarantine. And you go out and of course I'm in my car, and everything like that. So I mean, I'm not around anybody but my daughter. But you see these people like, they're out for their fucking walk. The same assholes in their fucking, in their yoga pants and their sandals, and there's this, there are those obnoxious healthy fucks that want to get out of the house. But like, even like when you're getting to the corner of the street, and you're waiting for the light to turn, so the walk sign to go across through the intersection, stay the fuck away from each other, and you see people in groups, and it's sort of like, maybe it's just me, but I think, I mean, of course, this is very much of a presumption. I think you could look at two people and see if they're related. You could say, oh, that guy's, or even if like how they look at each other, like, oh, that's probably your husband and a wife, or that's, those are people live in the same house. So that's a brother and sister, something like that. But I'm seeing couples, like people that like, and I guess technically if you're a couple before the quarantine, I guess you two can also go out together but it's just, I don't know. I see way too many fucking people on the streets, and it's bothering the shit out of me. I live in the fucking hood. You see, the guy standing outside the fucking bodegas and shit like that. And it's like, I mean, I guess, this was probably a good, I guess, the weed dealers are probably doing good, making good money. The drug dealers are probably still making good money because people at the home got nothing else better to do but to get high.
Probably.
But, I want this shit to look like, when I'm driving on the street, I don't want to see another fucking person. And it just bothers me that, you see people on the streets. I mean, luckily, I do have my car and everything like that. You do see people, I guess they made the buses now where like you have to get on through the back entrance of the bus. Like the bus, I think the buses are free right now. And it's like, but the bus driver comes, they pull up, you get in through the back, and then they have like tape, and a big X of tape, in the back. So like it keeps, so you can't cross that tape to get to the driver. So the driver's not exposed to, because obviously people on the bus, you're not exactly getting the cream of the crop of society. Don't get me wrong. People who take the bus are probably the fucking lowest of the lows. But, so the bus driver, and I can only imagine the shit the bus driver has to put up with. Because I can only imagine people passing that line. Like people like, hey, bus driver, could like motherfucker, stay behind the fucking tape. There's a reason why there's a big giant X in the middle of the fucking bus, like diagonally across the bus, and went to Walmart the other day, actually got toilet paper at Walmart, like the big, not the 30 pack, I think, but the 16 pack or whatever, but still, I mean, it was nice, I don't have to go to Wegmans anymore. Got my toilet paper, but they got the tape on the floor for people to stand 6 feet apart, and I love those partitions, man. Like they like a lot of these places, when you go to the cashier, they put up like a plexiglass partition, and I swear I wish I had that back when I worked at Rite Aid, because people spit when they talk, people have bad breath, now people are sick or whatever. I would have loved to have a fucking plexiglass partition between me and the fucking customers that I had back when I was working at. But of course, I say this every episode recently. I don't want to discuss politics, but we have to address the fucking elephant in the room of our beautiful, wonderful, intelligent leader, President for Life Trump, talking about injecting fucking disinfectant and using UV light. And of course, the internet went crazy with it, and we're all doing jokes, and he had that line, oh, I was being sarcastic. And we all have that one friend that and they get called out on saying something stupid, and they go, oh, I was being sarcastic. No, you were not being sarcastic. You said something really fucking stupid. All right, Paul, since we had some technical difficulties, it's totally my fault. My computer feels like it was getting pretty warm, and I had to turn my fan on just because I bought this fan at a discount. Like the internal fan doesn't work, so I kind of have to. I have like a little outside little clip fan that blows on it, cools it off. It was getting a little hot, and so instead of having it like fail, like my computer will just shut the fuck off if it overheats. So if you hear a little extra buzz in the background, I'll try to get rid of it in post. But that's my fan going. But like I was saying before, our technical difficulties. This fucking genius is talking about injecting disinfectants and UV light. Now, in all fairness, yes, indeed, there is a thing there is UV light treatment, but one, it has nothing to do with this virus, and I don't think he understands how it works. And quite frankly, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I don't understand how it works. But it's like and of course this is coming from a guy who does a podcast, and I know I talk a lot, but this guy just has diarrhea of the fucking mouth, and says things, doesn't fucking think about it, and unfortunately, and then there was the next day where they were talking about people ingesting disinfectant, people calling poison control because people were trying to swallow fucking bleach and swallow Lysol and shit like that. If you listen to our president, you obviously have some sort of mental fucking deficiency, and he's putting dangerous ideas in people's heads where people are, obviously it cause and effect. He said injecting disinfectant, and the next day he didn't tell people go ahead and inject disinfectant, but the next day people took that and ran with it and injected disinfectant. This fucking dummy is talking about liberate this state and liberate that state, and as we're recording this right now, right before the episode got started, let me just look at the news. Multiple armed gunmen storm Michigan State House. The state police are protecting Governor, I guess in Michigan, Governor Whitmer, and blocking the gunmen from gaining access to the House floor. Now, just imagine for 2 seconds if this was a black radical group. If this was, people and they stormed the house with fucking guns.
Better question. How is it that you're allowed... Wait for it. How is it that you're allowed to go protest at the Capitol and have weapons? In what fucking wet dream did somebody dream this up and go, what would be great? Let's allow people to bring fucking guns in when they storm the Capitol. What? Listen, I don't know who the fuck thought this was a good idea, but let me make this very clear. Number one, if I was a governor and you came into the Capitol and I was there, I would order the police to arrest you instantly. That's terrorism. If you're coming into a fucking Capitol where I'm at and you're literally feet away from me with guns, I'm having you arrested. Number two, there should be no fucking law that allows you to bring guns onto the Capitol, period. Mm-hmm. Because you're not only putting the life of the governor, whoever that may be, if they go to the Capitol's life in jeopardy, you're putting all those state assembly members and state senate members in jeopardy too. So it's why would you do that? And then I said this on Twitter too. Let's take the worst case scenario, Chris. Mm-hmm. Let's say some fucking terrorist sneaks in with these fucking people and opens fire on everybody. Mm-hmm. Even the other people that have the guns just starts opening fire on everybody and then kills himself. Now you got hundreds of people dead because you dumb fucks allowed guns on the Capitol grounds.
And let me just and now don't be wrong. It's these fucking people are assholes and
no, it's fucking stupid.
Let me just devil's advocate for a second. You go and you get the state police or whatever, and they arrest 4 or 5 of these guys. Then you got these other fanatics that are, what I'm saying? The cops can't arrest everybody there. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Obviously I'm not there, but for the most part, they're outnumbered. The cops are actually outnumbered in a situation.
Yeah, but it shouldn't even have gotten to the point where these fucking people were allowed onto the Capitol grounds with fucking guns. That shit doesn't there's a reason, Chris, why these governors have to put a fucking lockdown put it into place in the first place, because people are fucking stupid. You were just talking about people drinking and injecting themselves with fucking cleaner because dumb fuck with the red hair decided to fucking say, oh, I'm gonna, I think this would be fine, or putting UV light into yourself. There's hundreds of calls going into these state health departments right now asking if this is okay to do. Mm-hmm. What the fuck? I mean, tonight's going to be one of those nights where I just go off on everything, but, like, holy fucking shit. Like, how stupid are people? That's how stupid America is, folks. We have to put a fucking lockdown in because people will go out and go, oh, I'm going to go into the park with 50 other people. Or I'm going to have a funeral with 2,500 other people because I think that's fun. We'll talk about that in a minute, too, because I want to fucking go off on that, too. I'll be honest with you,
I'm not super familiar with, I guess, something that happened. You're talking about something that happened in Rochester, yes?
So, no. This happened in New York City. Your backyard.
Is this the Hasidic Jews? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, and of course, I go out there and I say the Hasidic Jews, and of course that I'm not. When I say that, this is no way, shape, or form like anti-Semitic or anything like that. I grew up on the Lower East Side.
Let me make this very fucking clear, okay? If me and Chris are criticizing people, especially in this situation, it doesn't matter if you're fucking Jewish, you're black, you're a Latino, you're a fucking green alien that just brought down 2,500 of your fucking friends and went down the fucking street in New York City. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. If you're going out there and having a funeral, especially when other fucking people can't have funerals right now, and you tell the mayor at the last second, oh, by the way, we're having a funeral, fuck you. Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
And the guy died.
And by the way, yes, and you're going down the fucking street. We're talking about fucking droplets. Yes, I get that you got fucking masks on.
But there's people there.
Hello,
you see small children in
sneezing,
that. You small children in that
exactly.
crowd.
And now you're endangering all the police that had to break it up, and you're also endangering the people that now have to take care of you, and because now you have fucking coronavirus because you decided to have a funeral. Listen, I get it. I understand. I get it. I fucking get it. You want to have a funeral for your family, or you want to have a funeral in this case for a famous Jewish religious leader. I get it. I understand. But there's time for that. Right now is not the time. Dude, if even half of those people fucking go into the hospital, that's going to jump by almost 1,000 people, Chris. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. Let's do the math. Let's do the proper math. 1,250 people. If half of those people
that's 600 new people.
Get infected. That's that. I mean, if you're going on the low side, let's say a quarter of them, it's 600 people, like you just said, 600, 625, and now you're half of it's 1,250.
And hospitals are burdened already. Like, they're already at their stress.
Yeah,
point.
Exactly. They just sent the fucking Comfort back to Virginia. Like, dude, like I have no fucking tolerance for idiocy. I have no tolerance for it, and I'm getting sick and tired of these people. I have to turn off social media sometimes because of all the stupidity that's going on. Like, literally, it's just it's like getting in. It's like seeping into my fucking veins, and I'm just like, don't be near me. I have knives in my apartment. Like, I would literally stab all these fucking people. That's how fucking stupid they are. Like, I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Like. Let's inject ourselves with fucking cleaning.
And then you see these protests, and I mean, by this point, it sounds hacky, but I mean, let's address it. The fact that these people are holding up signs saying, I need a haircut. I want a fucking haircut.
Well, so here's the fucked up part. And this is it's good that you brought this up. So let's talk about this in a constructive way. There are people that are hurting, okay? And here's the problem. We can't hate on the people that are opening these businesses when these governors say, go ahead and open, because here's the fucking problem. They're not getting the unemployment. They're not getting the PPP, which is that small business loan program. They're not getting that. So now you're just sitting here going, I got to open because they got to pay the bills. They're the people that they employ are hurting too. So they're sitting there going, dude, I need my job back. You need to hire me back. We need to open up. So in those situations, Chris, dude, I understand what you're trying to do. Please be safe. I would suggest you don't, but I can completely understand. And by the way, I'm a very logical person, so I understand that. But, like, for example, they had a guy, like these idiots in, like, California, for example. A whole fucking county is going to open up everything, including their schools. If I was the governor, like tomorrow, they're doing it tomorrow, Friday. Guess what? If I were the governor, National Guard. Nope. Fuck you. Martial law, you're not doing it. Because I don't care if you have 0 cases or 1,000 cases. If you open up, fuck you. You're going against the state thing. I'm putting martial law in. You're not going to do it. And I guarantee you it might have to get to that. And then, you know, there's a hairstylist like a haircut guy that's in this. You're going to laugh at this, Chris, because I heard this on CNN today. This fucking guy, he's like, well, I'm going to open up. I don't care about the governor's orders. Did they warn you? Yeah, they've warned me. I don't give a shit. I'm going to open up because I'm hurting and my people are hurting. Okay, I get that. I get it. I understand it. I get that you're hurting. I get that that this is hard for you. Well, what if they fine you? Well, I'd rather get fined and go to jail than not open my business. Wait, what? What? Like, dude, $20,000 that you can't pay on top of your rent, on top of your fucking thing, and yet you're going to open up. Like, just no. Don't be stupid. Like, that's the stupidity I'm talking about. And getting back to what we were talking about, the protesters, like, some of these business people are in these protests. So I completely get those people that are protesting because they want to get back to work. I get it. I completely understand. Because you're hurting, there's no other choice, you have to open up. I get that. Here's the problem. It's not all those people are there because of that legitimate reason. They're there because they're Trump supporters. I hate to fucking say it, but they're Trump supporters.
You see people with Trump flags, Trump hats,
exactly.
Other Trump paraphernalia and stuff like that. And then the funny thing is that, well, it wasn't Michigan, or I forgot what state it was, where they were standing on the steps, and they were referring to the governor, but they were chanting "Lock her up," and it's like, obviously that's that was Michigan.
That was Michigan,
sort of like,
I think.
Where, like, obviously that was the big chant when Donald Trump was in office trying to talk about Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think they had a protest downtown Buffalo, but they were all in cars. And they also like did it the proper way and said, hey, we're going to do the protest from this time to this time, through the town hall. Okay, great. I think they were all in cars. I don't know that for sure, but, it is what it is. So, I think, that I'm not so like hard on people that are protesting from their cars, but it's a whole different beast when you guys are clumped together in a huge group and fucking protesting, not even 6 feet apart. Like, are you not getting the fact that if you're protesting together like that in a group, people are going to catch coronavirus? People that were even 6 feet apart in the fucking voting booths at fucking Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Like, what was it? I think 52 people got the coronavirus. Like, and yeah, I get that there's some people suing New York State for canceling the New York State primary, but people are stupid. Sorry. What do you want me to say? Like, I don't want. If I were the governor, I wouldn't want to do that. By the way, we pretty much have a nominee, so why do we still need the primary? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it just, the stupidity out there right now is, you know what I mean? Just absurdly crazy. Yeah. Well, I just don't get it.
Like, the other day you had posted about a guy relatively local to us, like, opening up his pizza parlor. And you know what? I mean, for places that are, like, obviously there are places that serve food that are opened right now, but they're opened under the, the guise of, a curbside. They'll bring the food out to you, or you can order it, or they can sign up for Grubhub or whatever. But now, of course, okay, if this guy wants to open up his pizza parlor and open up the tables and stuff like that, in a way, that's his, I don't want to say it's his right or whatever. I mean, but it's also, it takes the idiots to go into the place and lounge around. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of fucking idiots who will go in there and lounge around, but it's sort of like, he shouldn't, what I'm saying? He's doing one bad thing, but it takes two to fucking tango in this one. It's going to take the geniuses to go and sit around in a fucking pizza parlor, to really make matters worse. Right now, technically every store could be open right now, but, it's sort of, and I mean, I feel bad for the employees and shit like that, but, it also takes the dummies to leave their house. And what's like we said, they're dummies because you see them, they interview these people and there's one guy screaming about he wants to buy fertilizer for his lawn and he wants to buy paint. And once again, fertilizer for you. And of course, we all, people take pride in their houses and property values and stuff like that, but this isn't the time to worry about your fucking lawn. This isn't time to worry about paint for the fucking side of your house. We're in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
And wait. Let me stop you there. Why are you complaining? Like, why are you complaining when fucking Lowe's is still open? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I have a friend that works at Home Depot.
He posts on Facebook and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like the major stores open. I think they're talking about like the smaller mom and pop,
Well, suck it up, Buttercup, and go to the fucking big store. I'm sorry.
Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Like, and trust me, I mean, and forgive me, I shouldn't even say Amazon because, I hate fucking Amazon. But I mean, online, you have the internet. If it's that, I only say Amazon because if it's that fucking urgent, yes, you can go to Amazon and have, get something delivered relatively quickly, And don't get me wrong, I understand. I like to walk into a store also. I'll go to a store, if I have the option to buy something online or go to the store, I'm still a little older in my mentality where I'll just go to the store because I don't want to wait a couple days for it. I want it now.
I would rather go into the store than like it's not just the convenience where I can get it then. It's also the convenience of having it in my hands and being like, okay, I can use this. Whereas, like, if you order something online and you're not paying attention that you can't return it, or worst case scenario, you can return it, but it costs you money to return it. Like, I don't want to do that. I just want to put it in my hand, see if I like it, and be like, okay, this is what I want. Ring me up and let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that lacks in this, like, Amazon society. But
yeah, I mean,
that's a whole different. Different.
I understand the convenience and everything like that, but this is not the time. This is the time we got to put that shit aside. And I had made a pretty big post about this the other day, and I'm going to kind of repeat myself here. Is that I think there's people who, and we all do it. I mean, we're Americans. Shopping is a pastime. When you're not sleeping or working, you're shopping. It gives you something to do. People go to the mall. People go to Walmart. And when I worked in Rite Aid, there's customers I see 2-3 times a week, and I'm like, buy all your shit at once, asshole. But then again, I mean, some people don't have a car, so they only buy what they hold in their hands for that particular moment. Some people, shopping is their life. Shopping is what gets them out of their house. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, I don't know, whatever. And once again, I mean, outside work or whatever, like, and I'm guilty of it. I've got to Walmart twice in a week. There's these people that are sitting at home, their whole identity, their whole way of passing time and having something to do is defined by going to a place, to buy stuff. That's their whole fucking life, and it's really fucking sad that's how some people. So it's almost like, and it's like I said in my post, it's like taking an addict and taking their drug away. The government saying, oh, you can't shop here anymore, and an addict, if you found a way to like successfully remove all the drugs from the world. If you say wave a magic wand and every bit of crack, cocaine, marijuana, mushrooms, all that shit magically disappeared tomorrow, what the fuck drug addicts would fucking take to the streets? They wouldn't know what to fucking do with them. So like, people, when you go shopping, and they use the term retail therapy. People, when you feel bad, sometimes it's just to go out and buy your, there are endorphins that are released when you buy stuff. People have a collection mentality, and that's how we are as animals, in the hunter-gatherer sense. And, we've taken that away from them, and they're losing their fucking minds. But, these people need to step the fuck back and go, I don't need that. Right now, you should only be leaving your house to buy fucking food, and that's it. What else do you need? And once again, the big box stores are open. If there's something, obviously, if my sink busted right now, or whatever the case may be, yes, I'll have to go to fucking Home Depot and get the parts that I need to get it fixed. And thank goodness Home Depot is considered an essential business. But once again, that's an emergency. Paint? What the fuck are you painting? There's nothing that needs to be painted right now. There's nothing, your lawn, fuck your lawn. What? Because you don't want to look bad in front of the neighbors because you want to keep up with the fucking Joneses. Fuck your lawn, fuck your clothes, fuck your fertilizer, fuck your haircuts. That's the biggest. Haircuts are the most non-essential fucking thing right now. So you look a little fuzzy, you look a little shaggy. Well, no shit. The whole 60,000 people have died in the past couple months. You know what I'm saying? I think we could all kind of be a little more forgiving and not worry about, what the fuck someone's hair looks like.
I would agree.
And I see, and I really can't speak on this and whatever. I see these girls on fucking social media, and you see them and they're taking pictures and all this other stuff. I mean, and I had mentioned earlier, they're the girls who are actually out, not social distancing, that are pissing me off. But you see girls, and they're on social media, and they have makeup on. And it's like, so let me get this straight. You're sitting at home, you're unemployed, you're sitting at home, and, you've always had an online presence, but you sat there and put makeup on as part of your routine to take pictures in your house, or even, and even if you were out socially, you went out and you did safely socially distance or whatever, but you put makeup on, and it's like, who the fuck are you looking good for? What, and of course, look, once again, I guess it's part of our routine, it's part of our, I guess to feel normal or whatever, but it blows my mind that there's women at home, and especially, I'm on Instagram. I follow Instagram models. I follow girls that, who doesn't want to see girls, sexy women posing sexy they post pictures every day for free on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I already have an internet connection. I'm going to look at it. But it's like, it blows my mind that these people, that their whole identity is based on looks. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And I'm going to waste my time and energy because I crave that attention from fucking strangers. And of course, that's coming from a guy who's doing a podcast, but I'm not. You're at your house, I'm in my house. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, this is something we can do that we've been social distancing for a couple of years now. You know what I'm saying? Even when we did the podcast together, if things were, if we were still doing the podcast live together and all this shit happened, I would say, okay, all right, Paul, we got to go back to Skype because
exactly.
This is how and I've been I've been doing here in Rochester. There've been people who've been doing online open mic nights where they're like, comedians will film themselves and talk to each other doing their jokes and stuff like that as if they were in a comedy club or if they're a bar, the places that do open mics, bars and shit like that. I've done the, going on Twitch and Discord and playing games. They have these online games, the You Don't Know Jack. They call them the Jackbox games, that's fucking fun as hell. You can still socialize and not leave your fucking home. There's no reason to fucking leave your home. And once again, some of the stuff I say on the podcast is stuff that I've written on social media, but I'm telling you, I've been sitting at home and I don't drink every night. That's not my thing. I enjoy a good drink every now and then. And, I've been, my drink of choice has been whiskey. And it's like, I've gotten myself so to the point where I'm enjoying my whiskey at home that you forget when you go to bars water that shit down. It's funny how you go to a bar and drink 3 or 4 whiskey and cokes and still relatively be level-headed. And here I have 1 whiskey and coke, but that's at my house that has been watered down. And I need to sit the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? I stand up to go take a piss and I'm like, whoa. I gotta chill the fuck out. So I'm telling you, these bars, once the bars start reopening, they're gonna have to fucking bring it when it comes to giving us the liquor the way we've gotten ourselves used to.
So that kind of gets me to where I really think that we're gonna end up needing to be especially for me with movie theaters, my thought process, and again, I don't know if this is what my company is going to end up doing, but my thought process is do what fucking Costco's doing. Don't let anybody in the fucking door without a mask on. Make sure you're wearing a mask, and basically what else I would do is not only just make sure that they're wearing a mask, but fucking, like I was saying to my boss the other day, I was like, I think a nice touch would be, for example, somebody fucking, before you walk into the theater, there's that alcohol station. Not alcohol in what you're thinking, but you know what I mean? Like rubbing alcohol, sanitizer, whatever you want to call it.
They have the sanitizer,
right.
Little
and like
kiosk,
how Wegmans
the little,
has it, your favorite place.
Little standees.
Yeah, and then have one back at the ticket stand. And then that way people are at least feel like, hey, they're taking this seriously. Obviously, we're going to be ending up like cleaning like everything pretty much. Every hour cleaning the door handles, cleaning whatever. But for me, I'm just like, I don't want somebody coming in if they don't have a mask on. And if they don't have a mask on, I want to have the ability to deny them. Because I feel like that's putting my health in risk, and that's putting other people's health at risk. Now,
you could also offer a mask. I'm just,
Well, I don't know. See, that's the other thing is like that may end up happening too. Is they may give us a supply of masks. I mean, obviously they're going to probably give us some PPE for the employees. Masks. What else? Masks. Gloves. And not the like the cheap plastic gloves, but the actual like latex gloves. I would also probably advise the employees, even though it's going to be probably hot as fuck, like wear long sleeve shirts, because until this is over, like you don't know if somebody coughs and it gets on your arm if you're not infected. You know what I mean? So why not just do it? You know what I mean? Just do it for now, and it is what it is. But basically, like for me, we should be doing whatever we need to do to make sure that I'm safe, my employees are safe, and even the people that are coming in and watching the movies are safe. Now, do I think that they should offer, have a supply of masks for people just in case, like they don't bring a mask? Sure, I'll give them that. But if somebody refuses to put a mask on even after I do that, sorry, I can't let you in. I do it for rated R films. I do it for parents that try to bring their kids that are 6 and under into rated R films. So why couldn't I do that for masks? If it's a health risk, I think that's a perfect idea. And I don't know. I don't know what my company is going to do. I hope that they do run with that policy, but we'll see. I mean, for the time being, until this all passes and we have a vaccine and whatever, that's what we have to do. And it's not just that. Like if I get sick, both of my parents are immune compromised. So by me getting sick, I could pass it on to them and they could easily die. I don't want that. So that's why I'm hoping that these companies and a lot of companies that I've seen that have opened, a lot of them are doing intelligent things. Like one barber, even before he opened, like sanitized the whole had a company come in and sanitize the whole place. Like, I'm like, that's great. That's wonderful. That's what I want to see. And then they socially distanced the chairs and everything. And they also, like, some of them are also doing it, like, by appointment. So, like, instead of, like, every 15 minutes or every half an hour, every hour there's somebody. So one at 1 o'clock, one at 2 o'clock, one at 3 o'clock. You know what I mean? So it gives you enough time to kind of sanitize, to, put space in between the last person. I think that's a great idea. I think doing those kinds of things is exactly what you need to do. And, make people, as much as they don't want to do it, wait in their car if they come early. You come early, great, but you can't come in until that other person leaves.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, I mean, I just hope that, we've been kind of talking about this, people being intelligent and not stupid. I want to see more of that. I want to see my company do it. I want to see, other people's companies doing it as well. I mean, every time that you go into Wegmans now, everybody's wearing a mask. So
yeah, I went to Walmart the other day, and they even controlled the traffic. Like, you have to come in through this door, on this side of this door. There's people sitting there. They have a little station as soon as you get your cart. You could wipe down the handle. And then you go through all the stuff you go through, and then you have to go out through a certain exit. And so, You know, and they have, I know this is a big thing. I've noticed a lot of other people are making a big deal about it. They have these arrows on the floor. Now, people don't understand how these fucking arrows work. Now, these people, they're trying to make us walk through every aisle. No, asshole. If you don't want to fucking go to that aisle, just skip it and go to the next aisle. You know, and if it means you have to skip an aisle and then go to another aisle and drive around, you know, like we've all done this when you've gone to a parking lot. When you pull into like a driving complex that's like more than one level, and there you have to drive a certain way to get out, you know. And so if the arrows go in one direction and it's outward and it's the aisle you want to get into, hey asshole, go to the next lane, go to the next aisle, walk down that one, come around, and come back up the aisle the proper way. You know, now luckily I haven't seen a problem with that. Luckily I didn't feel particularly crowded at Walmart. Now also keep in mind, I went on a fucking Tuesday in the morning because, you know, a lot of people, because it's like, you know, of course we all kind of have, and I work, you know, when I work there, you know, if I work during the week, you know, generally I want to shop on the weekends. You know, that's a lot of people's mentality. The weekend kind of has that shopping feel to it. Well, nowadays, every day is the same. Weekends don't fucking exist anymore. But, also, like, I know the dummies are going to be there on Saturday and Sunday. I know the dummies are going to be there. So I was like, you know.
Not really.
Dummies come out
because
like they're roaches, man. They come out in a fucking.
Honestly, there's more people during the week than there is during, on Friday, on Saturday and Sunday now, because nobody's out. Like, it's like a fucking ghost town. And most of the time when I go out on like the weekend, like there's nothing, dude.
Well, I went Tuesday morning. You know, and I said, because I didn't want to go on the weekend because I felt in my heart of hearts that if I went on the weekend, if I went on Saturday or Sunday, I'd be dealing with significantly a lot more people than I would Tuesday morning. And so luckily, like, even though the Walmart does have the arrows on the floor, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't follow the arrows, but, you know, I didn't feel like I was invading anybody's personal space. I didn't feel people were invading my personal space. You know, I have no problem, you know, and I'm not going to make a big deal about it and it's like that when you go shopping anyway. Sometimes you're going to look for something and you want to shop and there's some fucking, you know, there's some cunt there. Let's just put it like that. There's some cunt there who thinks the world fucking belongs to her, and she's standing there doing whatever she's doing, and she's standing right in front of the fucking product that you need. You know, and sometimes you have to deal with shit like that. So, I feel that same way about people that are standing there. You know, I want to keep social distancing, and luckily you know, the last time I went, nobody was standing in front of the stuff that I need to get. But, you know, right. Just going and shopping way before the quarantine happened. When you go shopping, there are people who just stand there. People use their carts to take up the whole fucking aisle because they think the world fucking owes them. You know, you had to deal with that shit anyway. So, I've also noticed that Walmart, number one, like Walmart's the place where everybody just flock to that place and they just like destroy it. Like, I thought Wegmans was bad. Like, I went into Walmart the other day and I'm like, what the hell happened here in the food aisle? And then I'm like, and this like turns me off from going in there at all. There were more people not wearing masks in there than in Wegmans. Like, I like the last couple times I've like 9 times out of 10, I won't have somebody that doesn't have a mask on. Like when they first put the policy in, people, there was like maybe one I saw, maybe 2 that I saw that didn't have a mask on. Now I don't see anybody. Wegmans, I went in the other day, fucking people without their masks on. I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, I'm good. I'm not going to come in here because it's to me, that's just disgusting. Like, you're not like fucking understanding that there's other people around you. Do you want to get sick? No. I don't want to get my kids sick. I don't want to get my parents sick. So why would you want to get me sick? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me that you would want to do that. So I don't know. I'm just of the belief that this is just be intelligent about things. And look, you know, it doesn't take I went to the dollar store when all this shit happened. I went to the fucking dollar store and I got myself fucking a bandana at the dollar store. Now I have this other thing now that it's like a Lycra thing. The funny thing, it's supposed to be a thing where you put over your whole head and like, you look like you look like someone out of fucking, I look like those military guys, I have that. But what I do is I keep the eyes, I pull it back where my head's sticking out through the hole where just the eyes are. So it's this weird Lycra thing that it covers my face. It's supposed to cover my whole head, but I push my head through the eye holes, and so I have this thing it's nice, and since it's Lycra, it kind of, it hugs my face and stuff like that. I bought one of those masks. I went on Wish.com and bought one of those masks. They look cool. They kind of look like a Sub-Zero or Scorpion or something like that. Unfortunately, they're made for people with human-sized heads and not giant fucking heads like mine. So I have one of those, but it looks weird on me, and you can't talk with it on. Like as soon as you open your mouth with that fucking thing on, the whole thing dislodges, defeating the whole purpose. But once again, I went to the dollar store where I got 2 bandanas for 50 cents. I mean, 2 bandanas for $1, meaning they're 50 cents a bandana. Go somewhere. Bandanas are dirt fucking cheap. I mean, people use bandanas to blow their fucking snot on. You can buy them, you can get them cheap. And then what I did was I bought a spray bottle, and I bought rubbing alcohol. And, so like if, when you're done using the mask, you spray it down with some rubbing alcohol. I mean, once again, this isn't, and it's something I keep in the car. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot more thorough ways to keep things. But I mean, if you want to keep things to the fucking bare minimum, keep a fucking spray bottle in your car with fucking, with, bandanas, which is like the cheapest fucking thing in the world. So that's what I'm just saying is like you keep it a bare minimum, and that's what I've been doing. I mean, I also don't leave the house unless it's absolutely fucking necessary.
Exactly. I don't leave either. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I go more than I should probably just because I need food. But, I mean, like, why would you go out if you don't need to go out? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So before we go to break, just this kind of quick fire couple things here. Kim Jong-un. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on with that. They're saying he's dead. He's alive, but he's brain dead.
South Korea says that he's alive.
I heard
he's fine.
He's dead. He's not dead.
Like,
I believe, I don't know what the structure is over there, but if it, there are people that are saying like, if his sister takes over, his sister is 10 times worse than he is. Like he's a scumbag, but he was more just like all talk and he was all bark and no bite. There are people saying like if his sister takes over, like his sister might actually start shit, which is all we need. We do, this year. Not to mention we fucking have UFOs. Let's not gloss over the fact that the fucking Pentagon declassified videos of fucking UFOs. So this is like we're in a disaster movie where this is every movie about the end of the world. It's plague or UFOs or killer apes or Skynet or something like that. So we're pretty much in the end time. So if World War III did actually start, I wouldn't be fucking surprised. So let me see what else. Governor Cuomo. He's been showing, wonderful restraint and level-headedness during this whole situation. People are saying, "Oh, you should run for president," and he's sort of like, there's other things to address right now.
he's like, no, I'm handling this. Fuck you.
And New York is a complicated fucking state. It's big. It has several different regions to it. People always assume New York. When they think of New York, they think instantly just of New York City. New York State.
Oh no, it's not. Yeah,
from where I grew up to where I live now, it's a 6-hour drive from Rochester to New York City, and technically I haven't even left. Well, I mean, I leave the state because on the map it's actually a quicker drive, but I'm just saying if I decided to not leave New York State, which makes no sense, but let's just say I wanted to stay in New York State and just take the thruway, it would take me like 8 hours to drive from New York City to Rochester. But my point being is that it's so fucking big that you can drive for hours and still be in the same fucking state. California's the same way. I'm pretty sure Texas is the same. I mean, a lot of states are big, but here's a guy trying his best to, and like I said, he's level-headed. My thing is just like, I also loved and respected Rudy Giuliani after 9/11. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving him his props now. Look what happened to Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani fucking turned into a fucking a vampire. He turned into a ghoul. He turned into a fucking monster. So I respect Governor Cuomo for his level-headedness and his leadership. But let's see how he. I'm not giving him too much praise because I've been burned in the past. I'm still post-traumatic with fucking with Rudy Giuliani.
Well, he wasn't mayor of New York City, so we'll leave it at that.
And then before we go to break, they had the Blue Angels fly over New York City. The Blue Angels are these they're really extremely talented jet fighter pilots. But that being said, do we at a time like this where people should be staying the fuck indoors, do we really need an air show over New York? And they go, this is for the workers and the essential workers and the healthcare workers. Those motherfuckers need sleep. They don't need a fucking air show. Give them a fucking break. Put on your PPE and show up at the fucking hospital and say.
How about you send them hazard?
Yeah, exactly.
How
for
about
all
that?
the fucking money that was wasted on expensive as fuck jet fuel, you could have. I don't know, get these people to fucking hotels and, open up the Four Seasons and let the healthcare workers hang out in the Four Seasons and shit like that. There's other ways you could have spent that money, as opposed to putting on a fucking air show. And before we go to break, that's another thing I kind of had in my notes also. All these big tough guys that are raiding the fucking, if you're bored. And it's funny because Cuomo I had made this comment first, but Cuomo kind of addressed someone at a press conference, which is like, what about the people that, what if somebody commits suicide because they're at home and they're so bored they commit suicide? And he goes, you want to not be bored anymore? Go volunteer at a hospital. You know what I'm saying? Go help out the fucking healthcare workers.
Exactly.
And the same thing, all these big fucking tough guys with their guns and shit like that, because they want to reopen and saying the government's being tyrannical and all this shit. Go volunteer at a fucking hospital. Go see what the real front lines of this pandemic. In the news today, a doctor committed suicide because she's been so stressed out over dealing with death and dealing with people that are dying, and then you try to go look to the outside world and hear these people fighting to open up, but way before we're ready to open up. Which only means it's only going to be a further burden on the fucking hospitals, where the doctor is so stressed out she committed suicide. So all these big tough guys, you're so fucking big and tough, you want to dress up like a fucking soldier. Well, we're in wartime, and hospitals need your fucking help. So
Agreed.
You want to show the world how big and tough you are? Go volunteer at a fucking hospital. Exactly. And I think with that, we'll be back with more Dick and Fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Victory Championship Wrestling presents Lethal Leap Year, on sale now for $9.99. Don't miss a single body slam or epic moment. Witness the showdown between Big Smooth and Johnny Slaughter for the BCW Championship. Go to bcwaction.com for exclusive events. Only found on bcwaction.com. And as an added bonus, the first 100 people to order this event will receive a free front row seat to the next event.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am in the most sincerest of senses disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of it.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough one.
How could you watch this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
And we're back. All right, Paul. Surprisingly enough, even when everything's shut down, we still have entertainment news, nerdy news, a reason not to fucking totally go crazy.
Ooh, can we talk about movie theaters?
Let's quick fire a few things because I know the movie theater is going to be the big one. That's been the elephant in the room. So before,
what do you mean? Do you think I'll go off on a tangent
before we
on
dominate
that?
the whole
No.
second half of the show, and I know we're going to get into it, so that's just a teaser for everyone. Let's quick fire.
All right, fire them up.
All these movies are getting pushed to 2021. Now, 2021 is going to be fucking 2020. If things go back to normal, obviously, 2021 is going to be the fucking bomb because this year's pretty much gone to shit. Everything's been pushed back. Even as we're recording this, I'm seeing people talking about the new Space Jam movie with LeBron James, and the Russo brothers want to do live action Hercules for Disney, and stuff like that. So. And with all the movies that were supposed to be coming out this year, along with the movies that were already scheduled to come out next year, 2021 is going to be fucking lit. It's going to be, I think when things go relatively back to normal, it's hard to say normal, but you know what I mean. It's going to be the roaring 20s. People from being locked up in their house all this time are going to probably go out and probably spend money. People are going to probably go out and start fucking everything that moves. People are going to be partying, having a good fucking time. So I think, I understand the gravity of the situation now. But I think, if we could get that curve down and get the numbers down and stuff like that, once people are given the fucking green light to go back out and it's safe enough to go back out where it's not people getting reinfected, this shit's going to, this is going to be the wrong, people are going to have, there's gonna be the quarantine baby boom. It's gonna be or shit like that. And speaking of celebrating or whatever, let's just also mention that just a couple days ago was the 8th year anniversary of the podcast on 420, man. I want to thank all the listeners and all the people that have been the loyal listeners and the people who have interacted with the show and people that we've interviewed and guests of the show and all the wonderful things that have come to the show, like going to Comic-Con and stuff like that. I want to thank everybody. We didn't have an official anniversary show. I guess this would be the anniversary show if you want to say it. We didn't really plan anything special because, the world's going to hell, but I do want to thank everybody who does listen and all the loyal listeners and everything like that. All right, let's get to some quick fire stuff before we get to the big thing. They announced today. I'm not a big fan of the Assassin's Creed movies, but they now, where they had, all the Assassin's Creed. Now the new theme is it's called Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so it's Vikings. And before it was like Roman Empire or the Crusades or the Pirates. Now the new Assassin's Creed is going to be Vikings. But that sounds pretty cool. I'd like to give it a look. It's sad that, as we're recording this, we know that, if things had not gone the way they have gone, this would have been the weekend that, Black Widow would have come out. But, I look in my timeline and this time last year was Endgame. 2 years ago was Infinity War. It's May. The weather's starting to get nice. This is the time people start going to the movies, and this, usually the first blockbusters, the summer, if you want to call it summer because it's only May, but the summer blockbusters, we would have been seeing Black Widow. Fucking Scarlett Johansson finally gets her own movie, and the fucking world goes to hell, and we have to wait for it. I'm willing to wait. I think it looks good. But it's so weird. We'll get back to the Russo brothers in a minute. There were a bunch of shows from Adult Swim that were on Hulu that went away. So by the time this comes out, it's already too late. But when I made the note, I for the past couple of days, I've been binging like Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, and C-Lab 2021. So it's just been a weird past couple of days with all the, those shows are fucking weird. But in that being said, on Hulu, they are releasing a show in about a week called Solar Opposites from the creators of Rick and Morty. I mean, it looks like Rick and Morty, it's about these aliens living, crash land on Earth or can't come to Earth. And
I really want to watch that. I might start watching that tonight, actually.
No.
Is it out already?
I want to say May 8th. So, we're still about a week away. But once again, as we're recording this, the new Rick and Morty, if I'm not mistaken, comes out this weekend. So, we're going to get a double dose. We're getting, official Rick and Morty and then, the sister show Solar Opposites. So we're going to get a double dose. After months and months of waiting, one good thing, now, we're all stuck inside and everyone's looking for new shows to come out. Well, we'll have 2 new shows in it. I watched Parasite again. It was a fucking great movie. It really, I know people got a little upset because, it was a Korean movie winning the best movie. It's a good fucking flick. And if you haven't seen it, put some time aside because it's not dubbed, it's subbed. You have to sit and read, but it's actually a really good fucking flick. Saturday Night Live has been doing really cool shows from home where they're doing sketches or, they're goofing on Zoom and people are recording sketches in their house. They're using green screen to make it look like characters are in the same room. But I think the coolest fucking thing is, they got Brad Pitt to pay Dr. Fauci. And I say, someone asked Dr. Fauci, they said, do you want Brad Pitt to play you? And he said, yeah. And, of course, that was just meant as a goof and sort of just like, let's just have a little fun or whatever. And what did you know? Fucking Saturday Night Live reached out and actually got Brad Pitt. Not that he's busy. Not that anybody in Hollywood's busy right now. But they got Brad Pitt to film it's a really fucking funny scene. And even if you don't like Saturday Night Live, and even if you're not like a political person, it's on Hulu and stuff like that. Like, just watch that clip because it's pretty fucking funny. I mean, I've always loved Saturday Night Live. But like, even if you're not a political person, just check out that clip because it's pretty fucking funny. I watched the new Simpsons. It's a short. It's not a full episode on Disney. Like, I guess it's like the first like official like Simpsons release post the Disney buyout or whatever of Fox, and it even begins where it looks like the silhouette of Mickey Mouse, and then the lights turn on and it's like Homer Simpson with 2 donuts on his head. It's called like Maggie's Day Out or something like that. It's pretty cute. In sad news, I mean, obviously the rest of the world's going to hell, but in the nerdy sad news, Howard Finkel, voice of the WWE. I mean, if you're an old school fan from that, passed away. Howard Finkel was one of those guys, old school, pretty much wore a tuxedo all the time when, he was an announcer. Back in a time where, announcers are supposed to be these classy old school kind of guys, had a great voice and, it's just, I mean, obviously, time passes and people pass, but, just like when they said Howard Finkel died, I was like, no. And then right before we get to the big, the story that I know San Diego Comic-Con officially has been canceled. And I don't know if we mentioned that in the last episode, but, the organizers had said basically the organizers didn't cancel it themselves. They were waiting for the city. The city of San Diego San Diego Comic-Con. And that's kind of smart because and here's what happened is they were collecting money from exhibitors and they were collecting money from, people pay, all the people that we see at Comic-Con pay to be at Comic-Con as, the exhibitors and stuff like that. And so if San Diego Comic-Con canceled, they would have to refund people their money. And in theory, they would have to refund all this money. If the city cancels it, they could say, hey, they throw up their hands, hey, we can't do anything, the city canceled it, and we don't have, not that they don't have to refund their money, but we could give you credit for next year. Meanwhile, they're sitting on, a nice chunk of change,
It's more insurance. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, well, we're not gonna give anybody their money back. No. When the city cancels it, that's when their insurance kicks in, and now they have that money to give people money back, and they don't lose anything.
But it's also, events like this and stuff, and like right now in Rochester, they canceled, all these street festivals and stuff. There's people, for a person to have a booth at a street festival, you got to pay into that thing. And all these street festivals that are canceled, and they're calling people and saying, hey, we're going to hold on to your money. And you can use it for next year. This is a person like, what if I'm not in this business anymore, or whatever the case may be. But I mean, I can't blame them. It was the smart move on their part, totally as a business, to say, let's wait for the city to cancel it. It would be incredibly dangerous, in my opinion, to have 60,000 people in a confined space until we flatten that fucking curve. As much as I love New York Comic Con, and I made jokes, and I'll go dressed up in the fucking pandemic suit if I have to. I'll look like a fucking an astronaut.
Please
I mean, I love and look, I
don't.
can't even go see my mom in New York City. Usually my usual not Comic Con things. I stay in my mom's house for a couple of days. I can't even visit my mom. I mean, I could. I honestly think I'm good enough where I haven't been around people. But, if I visited my mom and then found out she was sick afterwards, I'd fucking, I'd go into like a deep fucking depression. But, signs are not good for New York Comic Con. Things, we're nowhere near flattening that curve. And New York Comic Con, once again, you're talking about, 60 to 80,000 people a day for 4 days in a confined space. It's not, and let's not say, not to mention that, the city was, I don't know if they've done it yet, but the city was 2 seconds away from turning Jacob Javits Center into like a place for patients, a place for a staging area.
Still is.
Yeah. So, as much as it breaks my heart, and of course, there are a lot more, much more important things in this world right now. It does kind of make me very sad that New York Comic Con opening this year, even though it hasn't been officially announced. But I mean, we all see that coming. And our last story before we get to the big one, and kind of help us get into that story. The Russo brothers have made it public, and once again, these guys have so much pull that it's very likely this will happen. Still obviously everyone's still wondering what the fuck's going to happen. Say that they want, once the quarantine lifts, to have, of course, there are two big giant fucking blockbusters, Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, to be part of the first wave of movies once people can go back to theater. I mean, these were giant blockbusters. I mean, isn't Endgame like if it's not the top movie, it's definitely top 2 or 3 of highest grossing movies ever. So why not get yet another bite at the apple? Once again, you get people that have been quarantined at home. I'm still worried about public safety and public health, but I would be inclined. I'd go out and see both those fucking movies. Like I'd see a marathon of Infinity War and Endgame. And maybe I'll sit in the back, and bring a can of Lysol with me and
Jesus Christ.
Wear my PPE like I'm fucking, once again, like if I'm going to fucking, I'm from the movie Outbreak or whatever. But I think it'd be cool to go back to the theaters and see those movies, especially if it was a double feature. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about 5-6 hours in the theater. But I'm kind of excited about that. But let's talk about the big granddaddy story, the big elephant in the room right now. AMC theaters. Let's start where it started. AMC theaters kind of had an issue with Universal putting out Trolls, and this is something that we kind of mentioned in the last episode, and now we're seeing the backlash of that. Trolls was released by Universal to on demand. And I had mentioned, my thing is that, they had, I'll just play the devil's advocate here up front, is they had spent so much money in marketing and, I'm a parent myself, taking my daughter to fucking McDonald's, there's Trolls all over fucking Happy Meals and stuff like that. Strike while the iron's hot, strike while people are still thinking about the movie, because I don't think they wouldn't have had the heat they got now, because this movie made like $100-something million from people playing it in their houses, which was like better it did better as video on demand than it was expected to do in the theaters. That being said, it's also, we're in the middle of a pandemic and people are stuck at home. People are watching fucking Tiger King, for Christ's sake. So, so let's not be blind to the fact that they also, it did well because people have such limited fucking entertainment options for children right now. But Universal actually profited by doing the video on demand, but AMC had and now you can kind of step in if you want to. AMC had kind of kicked back and say, "Oh, you want to violate your contract with where you were going to release a movie with us, go over our heads and put it on fucking on demand. Well, fuck you. We're not playing Universal movies anymore. Kiss our ass."
I'm getting ready to.
That's the way I interpret it. That AMC said, you know what, you want to play games and not honor your contract. Well, fuck you. We're not playing Universal movies and then then as the story's going on now, I believe Regal has taken. And not that Regal's doing the same thing as AMC, but I think Regal also said something about like not playing Universal movies or
yeah.
So go on.
So
dive in.
Let me get into it. Let's do this. So, all right. So, what's going on here? So, basically, let's take a step back. So, I'm thinking, I believe it was 2011, Chris, or 2001. I can't remember when Tower Heist came out. Mm-hmm. It was a Ben Stiller movie. And the reason I'm using this, and I'll get to the point of why I'm using this to why now. Universal had this movie called Tower Heist. It had Ben Stiller in it. So Universal before tried to play this little game called, we're going to try to put this on demand while you're not looking and while it's in the theaters. AMC, Regal, and Cinemark caught wind of it and went, fuck you, you're not, and we're not playing your movies. Now, at that time, Regal was only in the United States. Cinemark and AMC. Well, AMC was still just the United States, I believe. And then Cinemark was worldwide. And once Cinemark came into the field, that's when they went, okay, I'm not playing any games here now. So basically they stopped that whole video on demand thing and blah, 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 blah. So, basically now there's a pandemic, Universal is like, you know what, we're going to take advantage of this and we're going to put Trolls on demand. Now, the CEO of Cineworld, which owns Regal, basically came out and said, I'm really disappointed in Universal for doing this. And this is before it went to video on demand. Now, let me preface this by saying this to you. If this didn't happen and Trolls was released into theaters, it was projected to do about 20 to 30 million in its first week. So let's just say that 50 million that it made in its first week on video on demand, if that number is true, that probably was more than what it would do if it was in theaters. And let's be honest, it would have done better. It's doing better than what it was supposed to do. Okay, people didn't think that it was going to do well at all. Let's just be honest, okay? And let's also be honest about something. Do we think that Trolls would have done as well if people weren't at home?
No.
No. Trolls wouldn't have done as much as it would have done. I mean, you have people buying Netflix again. You have people flocking to Adult Swim again, inflating Toonami's ratings. So you see all this and you're like, oh shit, okay, I see what we're doing here. I get it. Okay, I got it. All right. So let's put those in perspective. Now, let's disregard that for the moment and see what Universal CEO said. He says, well, now we're going to start putting things on video, on demand when it goes into the theater. if I'm an owner of a movie theater, I'm going to go fuck you. Because no, that's not going to happen. AMC flat out said no, and NATO did the exact same thing. NATO, for anybody that's listening, is North American Theater Organization. It's an organization that defends all the theaters, private and big, in the United States of America. So, well, actually, it's North America, so it might include Canada, and I don't think it includes anything, obviously, outside of south of the United States. But who knows? I don't know. It's North America, so I would guess it means United States and Canada, whatever.
Yeah.
You get my point. So basically, Universal shot back and said, well, we said we would evaluate it. We would evaluate it. We would evaluate the movies, and where it makes sense, we'll put it on demand when it goes into the theaters. So Regal comes out with a very comprehensive, and by the way, it wasn't Regal, it was Cineworld. You got to remember, Cineworld, who owns Regal, is worldwide. They're about to buy a whole Canadian theater chain. I don't know if you know about that. There's actually stories about it. That deal probably still will go through because they'll lose a lot of money if they don't do it. We'll see. But anyways, I'm kind of getting a little bit off track here. But Regal basically said, and the news, you know how the media does these things. They took it out of context. But Regal was basically saying in plain English that they're doing the same thing that they've been doing with movies before. If a movie comes out on demand and that same movie company wants to put it on in theaters at the same time, they're not going to play it. Now, some of you may be like, well, they've never done that before. There's a movie that Netflix tried to put in theaters called Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2. I think that's the name of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I could be wrong, but I believe it was something like that, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2, or something along those lines, whatever. They wanted to put it into theaters. And all the theater chains went, no, we're not having this. And then obviously the Tower Heist example as well. So, it's one of those things where you're just like, do you think Universal's that stupid to play games with Regal, Cinemark, and AMC, especially when AMC and Regal, who's now owned by Cineworld, which is overseas, so that means that Regal is technically worldwide because it's part of a company that's worldwide. Do you think that Universal's going to miss out on billions? We're not talking about millions, billions of dollars worth of money that they're going to get. So let me name the 4 movies that are coming out next year. Because they moved, by the way, Trolls is the only major, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the only major movie because everything got pushed back that's coming out this year. They have Fast 9 that's coming out next year. They have the new Minions movie, Rise of Gru. They have, we were talking about this earlier, Jurassic World 3, and then they have Sing 2. Chris, do you think they're going to miss out on the billions upon billions upon billions of dollars that they could make? Because think about this. You're talking about 75% of the market worldwide is automatically taken away in theaters because you decided you wanted to put it on demand. Oh, by the way, at that point, people are probably back to work and outside of their houses.
In the post-quarantine.
You see what I'm
boom.
saying? Right, exactly. So do you honestly think that people are going to want to watch this on demand? No. When are they going to have time? They're making up fucking money that they lost. So Universal's not stupid. And the theaters aren't stupid either. They know that that's what's going to happen. But there's another caveat to this, and that's the reason why, you don't see Disney, for example, putting 50 films out. And the only reason that they're putting Artemis Fowl, for example, and Warner Brothers is putting Scoob in, on demand, is for one reason and one reason alone. They're not going to make money. They weren't going to make that much money anyways. So what they're doing is they're trying to capitalize on what they see right now for the pandemic. You won't see this again for a long time, Chris. You won't. Now, I think the smarter model is what Amazon Prime has been doing. And I don't know if you know this, but what Amazon Prime has been doing is it's been going to these theater chains and it says, look, we want to put insert movie that we're putting exclusively on our service for the first 2 weeks in your theaters. After that week or two, it's going to come out of theaters, and then it's going to go onto our service. And those are deals that are made with the theaters. Those deals have been made, and those are fine. They made the deals. And by the way, those movies aren't going to make any money anyways. I'm going to be completely honest with you. They don't make very much, okay? They're pretty much just paying for their budget, and then it goes on demand. Because let's face it, those Amazon Prime movies are probably only had a budget of a couple million. They probably make that in the week or two that they're on in theaters, and then it's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I call it the Tyler Perry example. Tyler Perry is a very intelligent man, and I know I'm kind of going off on a little tangent here, but indulge me. Tyler Perry plays this game called I know how to make a movie and make money. He'll make a movie for about $5 to $10 million, right? So let's take one of his Medea movies. The first week it's in theaters, it'll do 20 to 30, sometimes even 40 million. So now you made $35 million. You paid for your budget. You made $35 million. And now anything at the second week, the third week, the fourth week, or how many weeks it's in the theaters, you've just made a huge profit. That's how Tyler Perry became rich. So these streaming services have started to figure that out, and like Amazon Prime is trying to do that. So I don't mind those kinds of deals where they're trying to do that. Netflix doesn't get that yet, and one of these days I hope they do, because I think like The Irishman, for example, that would have been great to be in movie theaters. You know what I mean? Like, I think that if they get that, if they pull their heads out of their asses and see where they could actually make money, I think they could do very well. That said, there's also one other thing that people don't realize. And I'm not going to really explain this because I'm going to be terrible at explaining it, but there's something called a virtual print fee. What's a virtual print fee? Well, it's a fee that the studios pay the theaters because they forced every single theater, privately owned and big corporations, to switch to digital projection. Mm-hmm. You know this. I've talked about this before. Basically, these deals were put in place where the studios have to pay them a little bit more money than what they were making before to pay for the cost of purchasing all these projectors and putting them into their theaters. Because here's the other thing, Chris. It's not costing them a penny to ship these films out. Why? Because it's all streamed in satellite. Now, there's the occasional movie that will be sent on a hard drive, and 90% of the time it's because, you know, something happens where the movie couldn't be downloaded into the theater, and now it's out of the server and they can't fucking, you know what I mean? Like they can't download it anymore. So it's very cheap for these theaters, even if they have to send a hard drive. So you don't have any cost to send your films to the theaters. You're paying the theaters for the projectors that they just bought. And by the way, as a result, if you have a huge movie in your theaters, you're making billions upon billions of dollars, which makes up for that VPF, virtual print fee. So the reason that these studios continue to put product in the theaters is not just because of the billions of dollars that they make, but also the fact that they have to pay for these projectors, Chris. Now, one more point that I want to make too, and this is something that I don't think that people may be surprised, because I am in the movie theater industry, and you would think I wouldn't say this, but I'm just going to flat out say it. There are movies that should go straight to Netflix and Amazon and whatever streaming service. I know that sounds weird, but Chris, I see movies that come out that last maybe 2-3 weeks. And if it lasts a little bit longer and it's not doing any business, probably because, and here's another thing that people don't know, and it happens more with the private chains. I worked for a privately owned company, and they made deals like this sometimes. Mm-hmm. This is what happens, Chris. They come, the studios will come. They know this movie's not going to do is not going to do business. They know it's not going to be the Avengers. It's not going to make $100,000 or $100,000. Wow, $100 million in its first week or more. Okay, they know that. So I don't care about that. Here's what happens. They go to let's say Cinemark. Cinemark, we want you to play said movie. We're going to give you this much money to play it. So all of a sudden you'll see this insert movie in Cinemark theaters, and you're sitting there scratching your head going, what the hell is that? What the fuck was this movie? Like, this doesn't make any sense why this is in every single Cinemark. Mm-hmm. That's why. So keep in mind here, when you hear Universal say this, and I'll be done now because I've done enough of this tangent already. Keep in mind when you see Universal say we're going to try to put things on video on demand, take that with a grain of salt. You won't see Fast 9 on video on demand in the first month or two that it's out in theaters. You won't see Jurassic World 3 on demand at the same time it's in theaters. You will not see the new Minions movie or even Sing 2 the same way. Especially Sing 2. I think Sing 2 will do really well because the first Sing did really well in theaters. It was a surprise. It took them too long to do the sequel, but I digress. They're not stupid. Why would you leave billions of dollars on the table? You don't do that. That's the whole reason why these theaters keep doing the business that they do. These companies know if they don't put it in theaters, they're not going to make their money back, and they're losing out on millions and sometimes billions of dollars worldwide. And that's the point I just wanted to make. So don't be surprised if you see more major chains come out. A lot of chains, I think, overseas came out about it. It's basically to send a shot across Universal's bow and say, listen, you tried this before. You got away with it this time, but you got lucky. Don't fucking do it.
I think it's also a warning to other studios. Like, don't fucking do what these guys did.
Now, wait. Now, there, I got to stop you right there and I won't speak long about this, but the only one that could do this and could get away with it is Disney. And the reason why, because they have so many fucking movies that they're putting into theaters that if they say, well, fuck you, we're going to put this on Disney Plus because that's where it's going to go, they're going to put it on Disney Plus. Okay? And there's not a goddamn thing that Regal or Cinemark or AMC could do about it because it's Disney. They own Marvel, they own Star Wars, they own, let's see, any Disney movie that they put out, period. So you're looking at three major brands right there. And, you know, if you're the one that has 50 to 75% of the movies coming out in the theaters, you have a lot of buying power. Universal doesn't. Warner Brothers, they have a little bit more power, nowhere near Disney. See what I'm saying? Sony, same thing with Sony. You don't see that many Sony films come out. They don't have any power. Disney does. Disney could do whatever the fuck they want. That's why you don't see anybody saying anything about Artemis Fowl being in theaters. Why? Why would I say something? So they can jack up the price on me and not give me any more money? That's what they'll do. That's what they'll do, Chris. They'll be like, fuck you, you can't have any. Oh, Regal wants to say, for example, Regal doesn't want to take said movie from Disney. Well, fine, fuck you, you can't have any more of our films. And by the way, we're gonna take more money from any movies you do play. You see what I'm saying? So, and by the way, you won't see Disney doing it either, because Disney's gonna make a shitload of money. So if they put insert movie on Disney Plus and in the theaters at the same time, and it's one movie a year, but in the grand scheme of things, they're making billions, maybe even $1 trillion because they have so many films out in the same year. Movie theaters are probably just not even gonna say anything because they don't want to fuck with Disney. So, but I wouldn't take anything that you see right now. I wouldn't even pay attention to it, honestly. Just let it go for now. I'm sure if they want to fuck around, which they won't, we'll see what happens, because they won't win. Universal won't win.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have no dog in this race. I mean, you know, it's so, but it's sort of, you know, to me it just says like, nobody else better get any fucking other ideas.
It's like two women fighting with each other. I hate to say that, but it's like two women fighting with each other. Neither one of them are going to win, but it's fun to see. It's,
you know what I mean? When the drill sergeant makes everyone do push-ups because, you know, Gomer Pyle brought the fucking donut from the mess hall, you know. It's like, you know, everybody, and once again, I'm just, you know, does it bother me? I mean, you know, it bothers me, but, you know, it's not like, you know, the AMC isn't the only, you know, player in the game. There's other places, and, I mean, I could give two shits about Fast and Furious or Sing or any of those movies or Despicable Me and shit like that. So, I I don't know. It's just interesting how it's all come out, So.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, but just like I said, if you think that these theaters are not going to have Universal films in there playing next year during the summer, you'd be smoking something. But it's also on the flip side. If you think that they're going to take the chance when nobody's home to play Fast and the Furious 9 on fucking video on demand and not have it in theaters, you're smoking something, because they're going to lose out on billions of dollars too. So, and Regal is the one that has a good point, because, and it's not Regal, it's Cineworld. Cineworld, makes it more about, listen, we're putting millions of dollars into these movie theaters for you. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you do that? Why would you play this game? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because then they could turn around and sue them, because, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. Like, if you just can't do that. You're basically shooting these movie theaters in the foot. And again, you won't see other studios doing this. Yes, there are certain movies right now that are going on demand. And that's because, number one, they weren't going to do anything in the first place. And number two, it's just going to make people more money. It's going to make more money, because you can't go buy a physical release. You can't go into the movie theaters. So why not throw it on demand to make as much money as you possibly can? It makes sense to me. It makes sense. So,
Gotcha.
There you go. Done with my tangent.
And I guess, the last bit of if you want to call it nerdy news, I'm not really nerdy news, but I'm getting sick and tired of, like, when this pandemic started, those people singing from fucking balconies, fuck those people, all the feel good shit. And now I'm getting fucking sick and tired of John Krasinski and his something good news. Have you seen these fucking videos? And I watched about John Krasinski from The Office and all this other stuff. And I think we might have mentioned it last episode. I mean, once again.
That guy. Yeah. He's married to Emily Blunt. And then he's having, like, the feel good news, like, or whatever it is. Yeah. I haven't watched them, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
4 minutes of the first one he did, and I was like, fuck this shit. And I understand there are simple-minded people that need to hear good news because, it makes their life bright or whatever, but I like it seems, and now don't be wrong, I don't think he's being disingenuous. I think he's being totally genuine, but it's like, dude, what, after 3 weeks of fucking Emily Blunt, you get bored? like, what do you're sitting at home with your gorgeous wife where you don't have to do any, okay, fine, you're not working, but neither of them right now have to, neither of them are sweating. Both of them have fucking incredibly successful careers, and this guy's putting out good news. I mean, I guess Emily Blunt must not be a good lay or something. It's like, I gotta fucking start streaming some good news or something because it's just not working. I'm gonna love to see what the divorce rate's gonna be after this quarantine, after people are stuck together for all these weeks. Anything else you want to add in there before we wrap it up?
I mean, I had some stuff I wanted to go off of politically, but we can save that for a different episode. So
Donald Trump's an asshole. The Biden
it wasn't
thing,
with
right?
Donald Trump, but that's yeah. We don't need to talk about that.
We'll get into that next episode, maybe. All right, so let's wrap this up. That's what she said. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net or .com for all things show related. You can find links to our iTunes page. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you could download us there. If you have an Apple device. If you don't have an Apple device and you have an Android, you can find us on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app. Every podcast worth listening to, in my opinion, is on the Stitcher app. Kevin Smith's Smodcast and the Joe Rogan Experience, and of course Paul's other baby, the Tsunami Faithful podcast, all available.
And the Demon Slayer podcast.
And Demon Slayer, excuse me, I forgot to mention. You can find.
I don't need them shooting me in the face for not mentioning it.
You can, and then of course, other than iTunes and Stitcher, you could also find us on our hosting sites app, SoundCloud. You go to SoundCloud and just search for Two Strangers, One Podcast. So I make every episode downloadable. Holy shit. Okay. You know what? And I was about to bring up the podcast, and we've gone this far, and we have an Oscar letter. Oh my God, I can't believe
Holy shit.
And this, I'm reading this. All right, let me see. Chris, oh boy, here we go. So you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. And
I don't even want to know.
right,
Jesus Christ.
And it's a long one too. Chris, so you think that anyone is surprised that a relationship of yours lasted less than one of your 4 seasons?
Can I stop you? I feel like he does this thing where like he waits until something shitty happens to you, and then he like swoops in and it's just like, haha, I can say something. Continue.
Through your 4 seasons. Oh, like winter, the season of Rochester is so cold that even you have a chance of getting companionship just for the warmth of your fat body. Obviously, he didn't keep her plied enough Jack and Coke, so their beer goggles wouldn't wear. She wasn't a drinker, to be honest with you. We went to go see Jason Mewes out in Syracuse, and she had a couple of drinks, and she got sick. She's not a drinker. Okay, her beer goggles wore off. Dude, you're so fat and ugly that the fact that you even got laid once is a miracle, but you needed a captive audience, didn't you? Wasn't your baby mama an inmate? Were you a correctional officer? Yeah, we've discussed it. Damn, the bitch has to be in a cage to find you even remotely attractive. Next.
Jesus Christ.
To hear you call Wi-Fi and internet a utility was annoying. To hear Paul say, here's the thing over and over. Oh, please, Chris, try it as a drinking game. As you're drinking so much Jack and Coke, you will need a new liver before you guys are out of quarantine. Can you please...
Oh, you and Chris could get together. Jesus.
Can you please count how many times Paul says that in just one episode? Chris, I just want you to link them back to back and say, now here's the thing montage. Last but not least, to go back to shitting on you, Chris, to hear you wanting relief for child support just shows what a piece of shit you are. You are in a state of emergency and you're looking for relief from child support. Dude, you're such garbage. It really enrages me that someone that is so unattractive and unsuccessful in life and career and in a personal life can talk with such arrogance really baffles me. Like, Chris, you're a loser in so many ways. Really, think about that. Let that simmer. Anyway, I continue to listen because you make me feel good about me and my life. How I know that I'm doing better than you professionally, financially, and emotionally. You're so easy to hate. And I see those vomitas pictures of your beard. It's all stages. Your beard's disgusting, like matted dog hair. Sincerely yours, Oscar.
Jesus Christ. God damn, Oscar. Jesus.
Let me see. P.S. Then there's a P.S. Sincerely yours, Oscar. Please bring back the pistol packing Urkel. I'm sure they don't need his black ass at the library down south. He's not in the library.
He's no longer at the library, Oscar.
I'm sure he's beating off to anime porn in between meals. You guys.
Wow, I'm gonna tell him you said that. You're fucked now.
Do you remember wrestling from the 1980s where the late great Howard Finkel would have total combined weights on a tag team? You guys could be, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the ring at a total combined weight of 1,100 pounds. The team of extra large, loser Chris, little peepee man, Paul Fascrillo, and their manager, the pistol packing Urkel. PPS, Paul, I still hate anime. Sent from my iPhone. Wow, and I said, let me just check. I always forget to check the email before the podcast. So you can write to us a lovely letter like Oscar has. Internet is a utility, goddammit. People need it, especially in this day and age where people are using it to collect
pistol packing Urkels.
But like people wouldn't get their stimulus check if they didn't have Wi-Fi or internet, or people didn't have get unemployment insurance and stuff like that. And also just obviously people lived without internet and before even TVs were a thing. I mean, yes, but 10 weeks people if you've lived in a certain way and 10 weeks of if you had to live in just reading books and stuff like that, people might go nuts. I mean, of course we'll adapt. If things were that fucking bad where you couldn't get internet and you couldn't even get it on a prepaid cell phone or something like that. If things were that bad, I mean, you're not going to go crazy. You could read books and stuff like that, but It's a utility. People need it. As for the child support thing, I pay my child support. Nobody wants to pay child support, and I'm not. It's not. And also, my deal with the child support, like in my particular situation is that my child support, and not that and I'm not casting stones or saying it's about my daughter's mother collects welfare, and so she's on welfare. So my child support check doesn't go to her. My money just goes into the system, because I've had friends, and I know plenty of people I know girls who have received child support and guys who pay child support. Usually what you pay into child support, that person gets in a check, like a physical check. And I'm pretty sure, things probably recently have switched over to direct deposit, but what you pay, what the father pays goes directly to the mother. Since the mom's on welfare, my money just goes into the fucking cloud. My money just goes into where whoever the fuck wants to spend it. It doesn't go to my daughter, because the mother collects welfare and gets food stamps and Medicaid and healthcare, Medicaid and all this shit. So that's what kind of pisses me off about paying, and I've always paid my child support, and trust me, because if I didn't pay child support, my ass would be in court. Police come knocking on my door.
His ass
That's
would
what I'm
be
saying.
in jail,
I pay my child support. I could do something that's of my responsibility and not like it. It's not, but that's neither here nor there. And when I talk about, I may be speaking my daughter's mother's business, but I'm not using that to slight her. I'm not putting her down or anything like that. I'm not, I'm just bringing up that fact for my argument of shit, I'm paying child support when it's not even going directly to my daughter. And I buy my daughter clothes all the time. My daughter spends, days of the week with me. She says she's been spending more time with me because she doesn't have school, so it's not interrupting her schedule when she gets picked up by a school bus and stuff like that. So, with the pandemic, my daughter's actually been spending more time at my house. All right. So, once again, you can write to us like Oscar does, at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. You can find our YouTube page. So any episodes that you, once again, 8 years, as a podcast, any episode that you don't find on our SoundCloud, you can find on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, search for Two Strangers One Podcast. You find all the old episodes there. You can find links to my audiobook, Odd I See a Tale from the Road. You can find links to, I do make music, under the name XLNYC. You can find, I've uploaded like 3 albums worth of music there. It's sort of like electronic music. What else? We're on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast. We want your money. We need your money. But if you can't do that, it takes 2 seconds to like and subscribe this episode. Like and subscribe, like this page, subscribe to our page, share this page. Show your support, and thank you to everyone in the past who has done that. And and I've recently added a bunch of new people, people who have been interacting with the page. I thought I was adding them to the page, but it sort of makes them my personal friends. We do have a lot of listeners outside the United States, and that's not I don't care, a listener's a listener. So welcome to everybody. And I think I'm done with this. I'm done with everything I need to say. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
I think I'm done with this right now. Yeah. All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can email me like Oscar has emailed me before, Paul Pascrillo at ToonamiFaithful.com. And of course, like he said, you can hear me on Toonami Faithful Podcasts. I produce, and I'm also on the Demon Slayer podcast, so you can find me pretty much everywhere. So if you want to reach out to me, you can be like Oscar and harass me. And
that was a classic letter, I gotta say. Even in the middle of the pandemic, he doesn't disappoint.
It's like he just comes out of nowhere. He's just like, "Ooh, Chris got fucked up. I'm gonna say something." Like, Jesus Christ, he's like that. He's like that that stalker that is there. But you won't know.
It's like when the cheetah chases the gazelle. There's always that one gazelle in the back that's limping.
Yeah.
But I welcome it. It's fun. I think it's pretty fucking funny. So I'm sorry. So anything else? I'm sorry I cut you off. You're in the middle of what you're saying.
No, you're good.
Well, we certainly, guys, We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening, had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris. Don't be a stranger.
Peace.
Why? You should be fapping. In the middle of a fucking quarantine, what else are you gonna fucking...
That's what Chris does all the time.
Look, my forearm's gonna be like Popeyes.
You're gonna be like Morty in that one episode.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled C-O-L-O-N.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea, man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. And if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15, and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
yeah.
Insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.